Salut les ultra rockers, on a rendez-vous aujourd'hui au Hard Rock Café de Paris avec Lex Koritni, frontman emblématique du groupe Koritni. Lex, thanks a lot for being there with us.
It's my pleasure.
It's a pleasure. First question, your fourth studio album called Night Goes On For Days will be released in France next Monday.
Yep.
For composition, records, mixing process and promotion period. Is that always different for each new album, or is there gradually a kind of routine in your working process?
No, it's always different. Like, I mean, our first record, Lady Luck, the whole band was living in Sydney. The second record, we were kind of living around Australia in different places, and now it's even worse. You know, like Chris is in London, Luke is in Tokyo, Eddie's in Sydney, I'm living in Paris. So obviously that changes a lot of things. Yeah. For the writing process, that's pretty much stayed the same. The main writing combination is me and Eddie. And we've never been the sort of writers where we sit down together and jam. I mean, we lived together for 2 years, and even when we were writing songs, he's in the other room working. He finishes what he was working on, he comes in, he gives me the song, I do my thing, and then I give it back. So being in 2 different rooms, being in 2 different countries, with the internet today, it makes no difference.
By the way, talking about your work on this album, Kevin Shirley took care of this new album as he already did on the last 3?
No, the last 3 was Mike Fraser.
Oh, excuse me. Yes.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Exactly.
And we actually took Kevin Shirley this time because Mike wasn't available. We had a deadline from our record label, so we had to get it mixed by a certain date. And Mike was busy doing something, I don't know. He was busy being awesome somewhere. So we said, all right, who else is fantastic? And Kevin Shirley's name popped up, and we asked him, and he said yes. So.
Okay, Vivi Brusco, Fred Mejan from Trust,
yeah.
Work on 3 tracks, and Mr. John Cougan, Status Quo, came back to studio for you after 30 years. Can you explain us how was born this collaboration?
Basically, I mean, I love having guests, like on Welcome to the Crossroads, we had Jeff Waters and Jeff Scott Soto, and it was the same thing. It's like I enjoy having guests just because it brings something fresh to the music, it brings something different, and they're always people that I've grown up listening to and I love, you know, just like Annihilator or Jeff Scott Soto, and Status Quo was the same thing. I've got videos of me, well, my parents had videos of me when I was like 6 years of age singing with my older brother, and we're singing like Down Down and Caroline from Status Quo. So, always been a big fan, and I met John about 5 years ago. We were doing a motorcycle festival down in the south of France, and he was playing there with his band, so I met him there, and when it came time to think about who to ask, I thought, why not? I've met him, he knows who we are, so we called him up and said, you want to come to Paris and have dinner and some drinks and maybe record a few songs? And he's like, fucking fantastic, you know. And of course, you know, he came here, he's in the studio playing, and he's like, so when can we go out for dinner and drinks? And I'm like, mate, you've only been playing for like 10 minutes, come on. Like, he's like, oh, okay. No, he's a very, very funny man, he's cool.
So as you had the opportunity to work with that guy, this monster of rock, do you think you can play the same rock and roll in 2015 as it used to be played 30 or 40 years ago? I mean, is the soul remains the same, you know?
Well, I mean, he's still a good player. I think if you've got the skill, you've got the skill. He looks a lot older, but you know, it's. I think the track speaks for itself. I think it worked really well, and yeah, he's got an amazing sound.
Yes, exactly. I mean, maybe in the generation confrontation between you, the new generation, and the oldest one.
I don't know. I might be a new generation, but I'm still playing old music.
Yes,
you know?
yes, exactly.
But it was interesting working with John and with Farid because the tracks that were recorded by John and by Farid and by Chris as well were all played on the same drum kit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was all on the same drum kit, and when you listen to the tracks, it's obviously different drummers, and actually the sound of the drums is different. You know, exactly. Because every drummer hits differently, they hit at a different angle, and it's amazing to see just how different that sound can be from a different player.
Yeah. the same kids, but the three different cultures, identities
Yeah.
of the drummers. Yes. Horns Up, the first track of the album, Shoot Our Face as a fist and appears as an hymn, which will be obviously really efficient in live.
I think so.
Do you format your music for the live?
I guess so. Like, I always think about live, you know. We obviously record albums, but I think we're a band that's best appreciated in the live scenario. So naturally, I think I just write with that in mind. I don't think, you know, this will be really good for the crowd. This is a good part. I think I just do it in with instinct.
Okay, talking about live, you'll be in concert in Corsica in July, sharing the stage with Status Quo.
Yeah.
In general, how do you explain that bands of the generation, I mean, more or less AC/DC, Iron Maiden, Black Sabbath, are still on tour and adored by 1,000 guys 30, 40 years after?
Yeah.
Is there no retirement for rock stars?
I don't know. I guess they retire when they die. I mean, there's always money to be made, and if the money keeps coming in, why not keep playing?
Sure.
Yeah, like yeah. I'm sure I'll still be touring, you know, as long as I can still walk on stage and make a sound.
Okay, for you.
But then again, you know, some artists they keep going and maybe they shouldn't. You know. But Status Quo, they still sound great live. They're still very good.
You played in Australia, in Canada, in Europe, in England, Germany, Italy, mainly in France. Why this particular relationship with France?
We basically go where the food is good, I think, because we haven't toured England for about 4 years, and there's a reason for that, because the food is fucking terrible. Yeah, when you compare it to France, you know, you have to pay a lot of money to get good food in England, and most of the time it's French cuisine. So, right, look, why France? I mean, that's where I started out. That's where our record label was. My manager's French. I'm now a French resident. And because we live all over the world, our main centre is France, and to organise a tour is obviously complicated. You know?
Yes.
So we start in France. If there's other dates that are appropriate within that time frame, then we'll go there. That's like when we've gone to Italy, when we've gone to Holland. You know, that's that. But generally, France is where the best crowds are, and it's a very rock and roll country. I know most French people, they don't think it, but you look at the amount of festivals for metal and rock and roll that are in France. Like you try and find 3 festivals like that in Australia. There's not even one. There used to be a festival called Big Day Out. It used to be a rock and roll metal festival,
Okay.
but it was in Australia, and you had like 8 years ago, I think the headliner was like Metallica, and like they've always had rock and roll. You know? I think it was 2 years ago, the headline was fucking Jay-Z. You imagine Hellfest, headlining Jay-Z and Beyonce or someone. It's like, yeah, there would be a fucking riot, you know. But in Australia, people are like, oh, okay, it's Jay-Z, cool. Like, no, it's...
yeah, they go to music festival actually, but not so much metal or rock.
Yeah. No, but to me, France, it's a rock and roll country.
Okay, and precisely, do you see any differences, particularities of the French audience in comparison with Europe, or?
No, I think the Europe idea is fairly general. Like the crowds in France, well, no, not so much Italy. They're a special country. But like France, Germany, Holland, I think the attitude is quite the same. For example, I found it interesting when I saw, I think it was I saw Motley Crue in Sydney in 2004. Okay. They were supported by Motorhead, and before Motorhead there was an Australian band called the Casanovas, and they're fantastic. You should check them out. And it was really interesting because it's an arena like Bercy, but like 17,000 people, and the arena was empty because all of the Australians, they're outside, they're drinking. And so the first band comes on, and I wanted to see the Casanovas because they're incredible. So I went in, and there was probably like 2,000 people in a 17,000 seat arena. And then Motorhead comes on, and there was maybe 5,000 people. So everyone's still outside, they don't give a fuck. And Motley Crue started, they've got the big show, like they've got the big introduction with the video and shit, and they're still only like maybe 10,000. Everyone's still outside. By the time the arena filled up, it was maybe song 5 or 6, which that is normal in Australia. Because people, they're like, I bought a ticket for Motley Crue, I want to see Motley Crue, that's it. They don't give a fuck about anything else. Whereas if you go to a gig in France, like when we've supported like the Scorpions or supported Motley Crue, or the place is full. Like, okay, the first band starts. Who is it? Let's have a look.
I want to amortize the price of my tickets.
Yeah, and it's a different attitude. Like, and I really respect that. I think that's great.
Our traditional last question, Lex. If you had one main memory on stage or outside you'd like to share with us, what will it be? Yes, quite difficult.
Yeah, there's lots. I think one of my main memories was it was a proper like Spinal Tap moment where it was our first tour. No, it was our second tour with the band, and we went to Corsica for the first time.
Okay.
And we arrived in Corsica, and man, that place, it's a different fucking place. It's beautiful, it's amazing, but wow, you know, it's not France, you know. And we arrived at the venue. Well, at the venue, it was like a soccer field with like a small stage and like a tent.
Okay.
And we arrive, and this guy is fucking gutting a pig, a sanglier. And the pig head is sitting on the bar. He's covered in blood, there's guts all over the ground. And we're like, what the fuck is this, you know? Is this Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or, you know, like, and he's like, oh, this is dinner tonight. I hunted it this afternoon. We're like, great, okay, cool, you know, that's all right. And so, you know, 9 o'clock comes, and there is nobody there. There's the guy with the pig. Oh, he's cooking the pig now. You know. Sure. We ate the pig. It was incredible. You know, I mean, everybody loves sangria. It's a bit disturbing to see the man covered in blood with the pig's head, but no, that was good. Still nobody. And we're like, okay, let's have another beer, and all right. And then the promoter, he comes up and he's like, I'm so sorry. I just realised that all of our advertising, we said that you were playing like 2 hours away on the other side of the island.
2 hours away?
Yeah. Yeah, we made a mistake, and it's like,
small mistake.
That's a small mistake. And so basically we played some songs for the promoter and the guy with the pig, and we're like, fuck it, let's get drunk. And yeah, there was like 200 people on the other side of the island, and they were told, oh sorry, there's no concert tonight. Yeah.
Crazy.
That was very
Welcome
funny.
to Corsica.
Luckily, the last time we went, it was far better organised, you know.
Night Goes On for Days, 4e album de Koritni, sort lundi 18 mai. Il est déjà validé tamponné par Ultrarock. Lex, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Have a good day. Bye.